The investor guy. Hey, Jen, you're out in Calgary. That's awesome. Sita is part of the Action family as well.
Hello,
awesome.
hello. There. Awesome. So for those coming in, we're just giving everybody a couple minutes here, and then we're gonna dive right into the good stuff. So have a quick grab your glass of water or your tea or whatever you're drinking this evening. Super excited that everyone's joining here.
Hello from Florida.
All the way from Florida.
Where in Florida?
We're going to Florida.
Oh yeah, next week.
Next
Tampa.
week. We're going to
meeting
Tampa.
Benson in Florida too next week.
Yes. I'm excited.
We're going to be meeting Kim Kiyosaki and Hulk Hogan. Some pretty big cool. Entrepreneurs. So it's going to be it's a nice mastermind. So pretty exciting. Yes to the Hulk. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, the Hulk was supposed to be there last time, and something ended up happening and he couldn't make it. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was this is the second time that he's planning on being there.
Well, hopefully this time is a for sure. Looking forward to that. Oh yeah. I was just waiting for someone to put the Hulk voice in there. Good job, Brad. We're going to get a copy of this presentation. Yes, you will get that, Sita.
Yes, and Sita, actually the team right now is composing a post as well. So, oh, Sita, we met at the Action family. Oh, yes, Sita's lovely. Yes, you're going to want to check out our private Facebook group because Mary on our behalf is preparing a post there about this right now. My little guy's doing sign language behind the scenes trying to tell me something. So I'll go try to see what this means. I don't know. Yeah.
Looks like fishing.
Yeah, fishing, baseball, could be a lot of different things.
That means TV.
That means TV.
I think we're all set up. So whenever you guys are ready to go, Dave.
Hey, we're ready to rock and roll, Benson. I'm excited to talk about tonight's presentation. I was just on it a couple of minutes before we hopped on, so I love this tool.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. We've had a lot of fun building it. Believe it or not, we've actually been around for 10 years when we originally built Privy.
Wow, that's awesome. Decade. Congrats.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Well, I'm excited to be here and be with your group. I really appreciate the warm welcome. My name is Benson Juarez. I'm one of the owners here at Privy. And like I said, we've been around for over 10 years now. I'm really fortunate to be operating at the intersection of my two passions, which is real estate investing and technology. I actually went to school for tech. And so we've been able to build an amazing platform that's growing really, really quickly. We've got thousands and thousands of users, of people who are using it in the US and also worldwide. We've got users from Europe and Canada and Mexico. I remember for a while there, we had a couple of users in Dubai and some islands over in the Mediterranean. Like I don't know how they found us, but people want to invest in the US. So the cool thing about Privy is it allows you to get access to the data that you need to be able to operate confidently, make actionable decisions, and get access to the data that you need to be able to accurately analyze any property that comes across your desk so you can understand what the value is in its current condition, what it might be worth after repair value, or if you're buying properties to put in a rental portfolio, we can show you rental data so you can analyze properties from cap rates, cash on cash return, annualized gross yield. It's one of the most powerful platforms in the world. I am biased. Yes, I am biased. However, I've seen it all. And I've seen some of the companies out there that are doing things and they're just, kind of just throwing a bunch of data together and saying like, look how much data we have. But is it really useful? That's what where the power is in Privy. So one of the things that we learned early on is that a lot of real estate investors basically will go and they'll look for deals based off of where they live, right? It makes sense. Like, well, I live in Colorado, so I'm going to look for deals in Colorado. Like, I know how to get to work really fast because I know the back roads. And if there's a a road jam, I know how to get there, right? And so people think that that local market knowledge will help them be a better real estate investor, and that's not always the case. So as much as we've heard real estate is location, 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 it's more about real estate investing activity and the location of that. And so there are certain areas in the country that you just want to avoid if at all possible. And with the data that we have in Privy, we'll be able to show you many of the areas that you should avoid, but also the best areas to invest. So when we first built Privy, the main things we were trying to solve is to get consistent deal flow, just deal flow that's consistent, that you can predict and you can build a business on. Or a lot of people like to go out and do traditional marketing. So we're spending money on ineffective marketing campaigns that aren't giving them the best return on that investment. Or maybe you've been in a place where like you get leads and you're writing offers, but your offer's not winning. Like somebody's always bidding you out. Like what information do they have that you don't have? They help better prepare you to submit offers that increases the chance of those being accepted. Or the chances of like you get those properties and you're running the numbers and it's like, man, I just can't make the numbers work. Like I don't know what the after repair value is. I don't know what to offer on this thing. And then they procrastinate, they don't take action. And it's because we're not confident in our numbers. For those of you that are doing wholesale, we've got some really good information on building buyers lists and understand local market activity. But the cool thing about Privy is we're exit strategy agnostic. It really doesn't matter what you want to do with the property down the road once you've acquired that property from, say, an under contract perspective. It's being able to find the deal, analyze it, and decide whether or not it's something you want to pursue is almost exactly the same up until you get it under contract. But what we coined a term called the reverse REI strategy. And what this is basically is it's a proven business practice. And Dave, if you've ever read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
I remember I had to read it when I was in college for business marketing. And that was one of the books that I actually really enjoyed learning because it wasn't just, the typical formulas or whatnot. It was actually really good content. So yes, I do remember.
It is. And it's well written and it's practical stuff, right? Like in college, most of the time it's all theory, right? Well, Stephen Covey took proven business practices and put them in his book based off of his experience and his in his businesses. And the second habit is begin with the end in mind. So instead of just going out and just blazing a trail, you think about where you want to end up and then you reverse engineer it. And so people do that in business, but it also works well in real estate based off of the data that we have inside of Privy. So you're able to locate the best areas to invest, thinking about, okay, I want to find a deal. I'm trying to find deeply discounted deals. Where are investors at? Because in a business where after repair value is usually the major measuring stick on whether a property is a deal or it's not a deal, you don't want to be looking in areas where people aren't doing deals because you need those repaired properties to prove after repair value. Now, that's even the case if you're buying properties for rentals, right? Like even people who are landlording, I made that term up. Even people who are landlording still want to get a great deal. And the best way to get a deal and not pay retail is if you can find that house that needs a little bit of work or maybe it's beaten up, but it's down the street from the house that was renovated. And that creates margins out of thin air. If that renovated house was a mile away, or if it wasn't in the city at all, well, now that property is worth what it's worth based off of unrenovated homes. So the goal is to find where the renovations are. And again, that doesn't apply to every single strategy, but in my opinion, it's one of the best ways to get deals, even if your long-term goal is to build a rental portfolio.
Benson, I love that you're saying that. I was just live with the Action family and we're talking about finding deals and all that. And yes, monthly cash flow, of course, is important, but it's also the bigger picture of the deal and finding deals where you can also get that appreciation, right? Underperforming forces appreciation. So it's not just the cash flow. Cash flow is great, of course, but those huge appreciation can be really nice and quickly cumulative as well. So I love that you're saying this.
It absolutely does. And I actually didn't directly mention that, but you mentioned something that's very important, like a rising tide raises all ships. And when renovations happen in a neighborhood, people start to properties values start to go up. Then one renovation happens, and then another one, and then another one. And pretty soon people are moving to the neighborhood. Rents go up, right? Appreciation happens at a higher rate than it would if there weren't any renovations going. Then the city gets involved, and they're paving roads, and they're putting in new street lamps and bus stops, and they're cleaning up graffiti. And that all can happen from one fix and flipper doing a flip in a neighborhood. And then it just snowballs from there. So it's a really cool thing that we have an opportunity to be part of. And we really don't think about it like we're actually helping neighborhood growth and the health of these neighborhoods just by doing what we love to do. It's pretty cool. So one of the benefits of this is that you're able to see where in the country the majority of this investor activity is. And you can tweak your business, and you can operate 100% virtually right from behind your computer, even never having set foot in some of these markets that we're going to show you tonight. And even 5 years ago, and especially prior to COVID, like it would have been unthinkable to do something like this remotely. But because the data is so good and it's so insightful, you really get comfortable, and very, very quickly you can become a local market expert without even having set foot in an area because of the data. The data really helps you to understand what's happening on the ground, not just analytics like you might see in some financial article or Black Knight or Atom Data. They're putting out these graphs, lines going up into the right, and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, I don't know what to do with that. It sounds good. Appreciation, market fluctuations, all that stuff is cool, right? But once we get to the map, you guys are going to really be able to see that it's mostly visual and it's very intuitive. So just high level, some of the main things that you can do with Privy, you can do off market and on market leads. We got both of those in Privy. We have the public record data. So if you are researching homeowners and you're looking to skip trace and find people, we have that information available right inside of our system. One of the biggest differences between our platform and other platforms you might find out there is the direct to MLS data. We actually have a whole division in our company now that goes and negotiates directly with MLSs to get that raw data in our system. We're not giving you access to some agent's MLS. We've got a raw feed. So we take that raw data and we curate it and we manipulate it and we make it actionable for real estate investing. I'm actually a licensed agent. I've been licensed for 15 years. The MLS is not useful for searching for deals. It is a pain in the butt to comp properties out. It's all manual. And if you want to build any sort of like comparative market analysis or anything that you can use for real estate investing, it could take hours. And if you're not, seasoned, it could take a day. So we built all of that functionality into Privy by leveraging all these different data sources. So this is going to help you create additional data deal flow. We have automation in our system. So I predict that most of us probably aren't doing this full time. So you need some sort of automation, some sort of a way of getting full-time results like you were doing it full-time, but maybe it's still a side hustle. Maybe you're still only doing it on nights and weekends. But we're going to help you get those full-time results by leveraging automation, email alerts, and some really cool algorithms. So let me show you guys how this works. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to show you the software itself. So, Dave, can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it. Look at all those deals. Look at all those blue spots. I love it.
Well, this right here is actually our coverage map. So this helps the user to understand where our data comes from. And so I mentioned to you before that we're the only platform that has direct to MLS data on scale. We're actually approaching 100 markets where we have that direct to MLS data. Now we have nationwide data as well with county record data, public record data, and what we call third party. So up here in say like North Dakota, that is third party MLS. It isn't the cream of the crop. It's not the tip of the spear that you might find in Denver or Minneapolis or Dallas or Tampa, because we haven't prioritized it. And part of the reason why is because in a moment here, I'm going to show you investor activity. There's not much going on in North Dakota. So we may never go there and get the direct to MLS. And there's actually over 600 MLSs, Dave. I'm not sure if you knew that. So we've already got, close to 100, Once we get to about 120, 130, that's going to give us 85% of all the major populated areas in the US. So we're really close to our goal. And that are going to be all the areas that you guys are going to want to go do deals in anyway. So some of the rural areas where there's a couple agents just helping farmers find land to go plant crops, we probably won't have it. So lots of different markets there. Now over here on the left, we've got these easy buttons, and these are just basically preset searches that we've created into our algorithm. If I click this one that says fix and flip, that's going to plot on the map where all the fix and flip activity is nationwide. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to do fix and flips, but as we were talking about before, you want to be in the areas where investors are doing deals. So you're going to have higher investor activity. You're going to have more available comparables. You're going to have better rental rates. You're going to have higher appreciation. And you're also going to be able to do better research to really understand what a deal is in your market. So a lot of the times people use universal formulas to try to figure out if a house is a deal. So they'll take, say the after repair value, if they can determine that. They're going to multiply it by a number, and then they're going to subtract construction costs, and they're going to try to figure out what to offer. What you should be doing is just basically looking at what other investors are doing and then use that as a measuring stick for what a deal is there, because they know the market better than you do. And they're the ones that are doing the activity. So we can leverage other investors' activity, their experience, to try to figure out where we need to be offer-wise so that we have competitive offers. So when I zoom in on the map, right now, these blue clusters are going to break up into smaller clusters. And we're going to start to get more clarity about which markets we should go in. So right away, we see Kansas here, right? There's a lot of just areas where people aren't doing deals. And I'm sorry if you guys live in Hays, Kansas, but this is an area where you would not want to spend any of your hard-earned money or your valuable time searching for deals, because even if you could find that motivated seller who raises their hand and says, hey, I want to sell you my house, the comps aren't going to be there for you to be able to decide what that thing is worth in an after repair value state, and you're not going to know what to offer. So a better process is to go to where you have large circles with high numbers, and that will allow you to get access to better data. And thinking several steps down the line, are the comps going to be available if I search in Hays, Kansas, if I find a deal? The answer is no. So we don't look in Hays. Now there's some other areas that are, not as low, like so Jefferson City, 157. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, you can basically compare it to other markets. So I always think about it as opportunity costs. Every minute I spend looking for a deal in Jefferson City is a moment I'm not spending time looking for a deal in St. Louis, right? Because there's a lot more activity here. And you guys, I believe in this process so much and the data so much that I actually picked up and moved to St. Louis a year ago to execute the strategy I'm showing you right now. And I closed dozens of deals, and I'm using the exact same process I did for you. Now, before I moved out there, I was just doing some wholesale deals. So I was going on to Privy, finding properties that looked like they were deals. And I found an investor-friendly agent. I built a buyer's list out there. And pretty soon I was like, there's so many opportunities there, and I can buy 5 for the price of 1 in Colorado. I'm moving. And I just picked up and left. So I actually moved back to Denver recently, but I want to show you what I did. So I clicked this button right here in St. Louis, and it's going to zoom in, and it's going to show us that there's more activity. Oh, boy, this is really cool. It's actually shifted a bit. So right up here in North City, there's a little bit more activity than there was even 2 or 3 months ago. So this data is live. It will shift and adjust. If you're working off of data that's a few months old, it's probably already too old. So what I would do is I would come in here to where it says 68, 67, get a little bit closer here. And then this is going to plot on the map all the deals that were done. Now, again, if you're looking to build a rental portfolio, we have rental data inside of Privy too, so you can determine cap rates, cash on cash return, cash flow in general. But you're going to want to be around where these flips are at, because these are going to help to increase the rental rates. And if you are applying a BRRRR method, which if you're not familiar with that is buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. It's just an acronym. That's where you buy the house from a perspective of a fix and flipper, but instead of selling it after the project is completed, you just keep it as a rental. So you're getting the best of all worlds. You get the better cash flow. You're getting all the benefits of having a depreciating asset, tax write-offs, all the things that come with that. So let's look at a property that was flipped. So here's a handful here. This one looks nice, little farmhouse-like property. This one closed just last week, it looks like, sold for $192,000. This report we're looking at is called a live comparative market analysis. It's basically a fancy word for a property report with comparables in it, and all the data that I used to collect from separate places and put into one place as an agent is now in one place. And it's built for every single property. So we got the property photos. Because it is direct to MLS, we have an MLS ID here, and we get the photos. Now, if you're familiar with the business at all, you'll know that if we were to look this up and it was third party, or if it was in a non-disclosure state like Missouri or Texas or some other, you wouldn't have the photos and you wouldn't know the price. They hide this in non-disclosure states for privacy issues. But because we have the direct to MLS, we get around all of that. So we get to see these beautiful photos, and we can see that this looks like it's repaired. So we would say, oh, this is representative of after repair value because it looks like it's repaired, right? There's not a flag in the MLS or in public records that tells us that a house is definitively a flip. We have to infer that it is based off of the 2 sales that happen in a short period of time. And then we also, in our algorithm, we want to see if they bought it lower than 75% of the ARV. So there was an increase in value that would be higher than any normal appreciation that would happen just because of the market. So that typically lands on these flips. So let me scroll down a little bit here. We got property information. If you're licensed in a particular state, we can show you agent contact information right in the system. We also are able to show you the private remarks if you're licensed. If you're not, then we have the limitations of what we can show you, but we still give you the 98% of everything you see here is the same. The algorithm automatically pulls comps for you. So these are all true comparables. So comparables, a lot of people just think that a house in the area is a comp. I think it's the same thing. Comp means comparable. And comparable means that it has similar property characteristics. So similar bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. Our comp zone is a half a mile from the center of the zone to the edge. And we match up property type, property style. You can see we got a 15% tolerance here on the square feet. Now this is adjustable. So if you happen to be in an area and you're like, boy, I really want to see what's, say 20% plus or minus, right? The subject property in this case is 1,225 square feet. We went before that, we went to 15. So down to 1,042 up to 1,408. We got rid of all the 2-stories in the neighborhood. We actually have a button here where you can remove the algorithm altogether by clicking all, and it will show you everything in the area, not just the properties that are most similar. And sometimes you just want to see everything, right? So look at all this other data that we hid because it was not comparable enough based off of common or standard comping practices. We also have the rental data here. So if you wanted to see, what a house, in this area that will rent for $1,200, like what does that look like? So this is a $1,200 rental. The other cool thing about this rental data, you guys, is the majority of it actually comes from property management companies. This isn't some Zillow estimate of what the rent is. These are the actual rents. And then we get to see the photos so we can see that, okay, this house has had some work done to it. So we're not gonna be able to find a beater and get $1,200 a month. We're gonna have to put some money into it. So that's what this will yield for you. So really good rental data here. We've got over 130 million rental data points that we're running through an algorithm. And later on, I'm going to show you how you can leverage that to find cash flowing properties.
And Benson, I love that you just said that because that's something that is so important to us when we're going into different markets. I love that the rental is coming directly from property management companies. So you're getting it right from the horse's mouth and you're able to see it, because when we're looking at it, running the numbers, we want to see what is the market rent going to be? How much are we going to be able to lift the asset in order to really get that after repair value? So that's one thing that I love. I'm constantly looking at the comparables. And the other thing I love, I typically used to rely on investor-focused agents in that area. And we're 8 p.m. Eastern time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes at night when the kids are in bed, I'm on my laptop looking at deals and Melanie and I are talking.
Dave is not the most patient guy to wait for numbers till the
I'm
next
like,
day.
the comps on the rents.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't gotta wait for anyone. I'm getting live data from the system. That's one feature that I absolutely love.
Well, it gives us that competitive
Mhm.
edge, right? Being able to get that data
Mhm.
properly and quickly as well, all in one spot.
Exactly.
It is amazing. And so we got that the rental comps, and then we got the sales comps. So we can look at it from those different perspectives, right? So this is an example of those. And the other thing that we have here with these rental comps is the photos. So that's really cool too, which you don't typically see when you're looking at rental listings or rental data. I love that as well. So then we scroll down below the comparable section. We have the map view, and then we've got the table view. And then we show you all the properties in this area. And we can see separated out from the rest of the homes, the ones that were flipped. So we can see this house actually was fixed flip. They bought it for 126, sold it for 234. And so you can, targeting those high investor activity areas really is helpful, I think, because then you can see, okay, this is an area where people are investing money, investing time. There's a good chance this area is going to have good appreciation over time. And then we show you the before and after. This is something that people really love about Privy, is that you can actually see what the house looked like before they fix it up. And this is pretty powerful. And this is one of the reasons why people love those fix and flip shows, because you can see that dramatic transformation from this to this. And you can say, okay, well, houses that are unrenovated are going for $700 a month, and houses that are renovated are going for $1,300 a month. How much money would it take to get it from A to B? And how long will it take for me to recoup that investment? And is it worth my time? Right. So there's a lot of different ways to view this information and make it actionable.
And Benson, another, again, to compound on that, is from long distance investors. When you're doing this, you're actually able to give me something similar, take something like this and make it into this, and have your property manager, have the contractor in that area. Now they actually have comparables to look at, pictures to look at, and they say, hey, if you want this style of quality and this type of finishes, it will be roughly X amount of dollars. You're not just guessing anymore. You're showing them actual pictures, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, I love just even the idea generating from the pictures, right? So as soon as I saw this picture, I thought of one of my buildings right away, because we kind of, although it looks different, the layout, but a lot of things were exact same. Even from the outside, we painted the shutters, gave it a fresh look from the outside, which was absolutely not expensive at all, but a great way. So just being able to replicate what works, what's been proven to work for other people.
Oh yeah. And this is the fun part too, right? Like, people can get lost in the numbers, and then really it's not tactile, but when you see these photos and you can see the difference, like, this is what, like, oh my gosh, this is real, right? And this is also telling you guys that other people are doing this. You're not the only one who's trying to do business in this market. And for me, it creates a little bit of FOMO, or fear of missing out. And like, man, they got this deal. How did I miss it? Like, they bought it for, let's see here. They bought it for 95,000, fixed it up and sold it for 192. That's 49% of the ARV. Right now, I know I have buyers out there that are buying stuff at up to 55, 57%. So if I had just found this one before they did, I could have taken this and, I could have wholesaled it. I could have fixed and flipped it myself. I could have turned it into a rental, but I missed it, right? I wasn't paying attention that day.
And okay, everyone, I'm sure a lot of people, you're thinking, what? You were able to buy a house? And I know it wasn't you, Benson, but I just mean the comps here, the example. You were able to buy a house for under $100,000. This is the power. Live where you want to live, but this is a tool that can help you invest where returns are best. And yes, there are houses and assets under $100,000. So that's the power of, right, having a tool like this that can, like Benson said, you don't need boots on the ground. You just need this type of tool to be able to actually help you.
Absolutely. And if you are interested at all in like figuring out like who's doing deals in these markets, and there's a couple of different use cases, but if you're an agent and you want to find new clients that you want to go and help them find houses, well, Gillen Real Estate LLC is the company that flipped this house. If you're a real estate wholesaler and you want to build a buyer's list, well, Gillen Glynn Real Estate LLC is somebody you might want to talk to because they're doing deals. So, and maybe you just want to talk to them and say like, boy, like, how did they find this product? I'd love to just connect with other people on the ground. You know, like if you go to the local real estate investment association, right? Like part of that's just networking and being around other people. Like maybe these people are nice. Maybe they want to help you. Maybe they have some contractors. Maybe they got crews who aren't busy right now. And they're like, man, I wish we could find them a project. And you'd be like, hey, I need some contractor help. And so you can start helping each other out. And it just goes from a little bit of getting out of your comfort zone and reaching out and building relationships. Cool. So that's just one example. And what I tell people, depending on your strategy, is go back and look at the last 10 to 20 properties that sold in a particular market and just look at the numbers. Look at what they bought it for, what they sold it for. The percentage of ARV is one of the most important pieces of that. And pretty soon you'll figure out kind of a range. Okay, well, most people are buying between, let's say like in St. Louis, it's between 48 and 62% is about where it's at. Right. So you'll get a better understanding of where you need to be, not some formula that someone put together that's nationwide, but for your specific market. And then once you get comfortable with that, then next time you find an opportunity that looks like it could be worthy of you analyzing or writing an offer, you'll have a better understanding of what you're up against and who you're competing against. Because if you're coming in and you're writing lowball offers because that's what somebody on the internet told you to do, and you can't win a bid, well, now we know why. Because in this particular market, they're going up to 62%. So you're gonna have to be competitive if you want those properties. So this is how you do your local market research. This is how you become a local market expert. This is how you get confident with your numbers. And then it comes to the point where you want to start looking for deals, right? So there's a couple different ways you can look for deals. We've all heard of off-market properties. So if I wanted to find houses that were in this area that potentially the homeowner was in a distressed situation, the very bottom of this filter here, so we have at the top filter, and I scroll down, we've got several off-market opportunities that could have a motivated seller that would be willing to sell you their house at a discount. So with things like foreclosures, tired landlords, vacancies, zombie properties, where they've owned the property, more than 20 years, absentee owners. Those are just some of them. And you can stack these lists too. So I can say, well, show me all of the vacant houses that are owned by absentee owners or landlords. I mean, if the landlord has a house that's vacant, well, that defeats the entire purpose of owning that home. They're not creating any revenue off of it. Maybe they've got a mortgage on it, or maybe they've got to pay taxes or utilities and there's no revenue coming in. That's an asset that's losing them money. Maybe it's time for them to move on, right? Maybe they're one of these tired landlords or somebody they've owned it for 8 years. And they're like, you know what? I'm tired of changing toilets, fixing toilets, doing all those sort of things. So you can play with these filters here and you will find people that are motivated to sell.
I love that you have a filter for that, tired landlords.
Tired landlords, vacant. Benson, one of my favorites, and Mel and I have always done this, and now this is when we're looking at our creative financing aspect, owned 20 plus years. So this is someone, possibly a mom and pop, they've had it for a long period of time. Like you said, they're probably, they used to love it at one point, but now they're just like, I wanted to pass it on to my kids. They don't want it. I wanted to get rid, liquidated, go to the next stages of my life. And these are the people that typically have their residence paid off completely, and might not always, but typically they have it. And they might be more open to creative financing, which is something that Mel and I love to show. So I love that you have that own 20 plus years. I'm hearing a lot of equity in that asset and willing to hold creative financing if pitched properly. So I love that tab.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so good. And I haven't touched on creative financing much yet either, but sometimes in like the remarks, they will put in there like creative financing or seller carry, or they'll put in other things in there that might lead you to believe that the seller is open to other methods of selling the house besides just traditional financing. So we've got a keyword search here that you can put in to your searches to find those properties. The next thing is, well, we know that from those lists, right? We're gonna have lists of properties of people that are in distressed situations that are potentially wanting to sell. Now, I don't know what the percentages are, but there's another group of people who we know 100% of the time want to sell their house. and it's people who put their houses on the MLS, right? So there's been this, I don't even know, like miscommunication, kind of like for years, people have been telling people like, you can't find deals on the MLS. You absolutely can. Like that last one we were just looking at with the before and after, that house was purchased from the MLS, and it was purchased at a pretty good discount too, lower than 50%. And most people wouldn't believe that that's what happens. And that's part of the education, I believe, that comes from Privy is you can get local market education, but you can start to understand like, okay, this is where people are buying houses for price wise, but this is where they're buying them from as well. And we actually did a research project about a year ago where we went into 5 major markets and we measured the percentage of houses that we called investment deals, that first map I showed you, and the percentage that were on market versus off market. And it ranged, but it was between 60 and 70% of all deals came from the MLS. So depending upon your market and depending upon what your strategy is, it's something that you should definitely not ignore. And we have a really simple way of finding those in Privy, and it's this button right here. So we've got all of these closed deals, and this is actually patent pending. So if I click the button that says find similar active deals, Privy's now going in and it's running comps on all those houses automatically. And it's going to show us houses that we can buy today that are at pretty good discounts based off of what we've learned from the market. So if I come into the filter and I click edit, and I told you earlier that from my research, people are buying from 48 to 62%. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set this at 55%. And so anybody whose numbers are 55% or lower would be interested in a house like this. So this could be you. Maybe you talk to your lender and they say, they go through and they look at all your assets and your liquidity, and they say, okay, well, you qualify for a loan up to 150. Okay. And maybe you know from your experience that you want at least a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Now that's, most homes, but maybe you decide it's a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom house. It's up to you. So the point is you have the flexibility here to tell the system what your buying criteria is or what your buy box is, right? So that's kind of the industry term for it, but your criteria for yourself or what your lender tells you, or if you're wholesaling, you can actually learn that from your buyers as well. So let's go ahead and run this search. I just adjusted this slightly. So we're gonna have less matches this time, but that's okay. But I did sort this by days on market. So it's showing me some of the stuff that's available right now. So look at some of these prices. Dave, earlier you were commenting on, oh my God, we could buy a house less than $100,000.
$40,000. Wow.
And the other thing, we find deals on market all the time. Mel and I found a couple of deals through Privy so far. Anyway, I won't get it too much in. I don't want to over until they firm up. I don't like saying too much, but the other thing is on market deals. Just this weekend, we were at a presentation and someone was saying, never look at on market deals. Mel and I are going,
What?
most of our portfolio is on market deals. Like what? Anyway, the other thing that I love as well is you can literally see how many days they've been on the market. Now, I know a lot of people will get spooked and go, oh, it's been on the market X amount of days. A lot of people will walk away from those properties. It doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with it. So by looking at, like you said, microing or looking on a micro level as to some of the ones that have been there longer, you might be able to scoop up a really good deal too that no one else is going to look at.
It's true. And there's 2 schools of thought on days on market. The people that we can convince that on market is a way to go, they're sometimes doing the filters for minimum of 60 days on market or minimum of 90 days because they believe that the seller finally would probably be in a place where they are going to start to think about letting that house go. Their dreams were destroyed. They thought they were going to get a max dollar for the house, and it's been sitting, and maybe they've done some price reductions, and now after 60 or 90 days, they're finally willing to just kind of give it away. Some of the best deals I've ever gotten were houses that came on the market that morning, and my offer was in like 2 hours later with like good quality offer, cash, good earnest money deposit, normal inspection period. And I won a bunch of those. But the reason why those deals worked is because I was looking in the right areas. If you're in an area that's low investment activity, it's hard to get sellers to sell you properties at a discount because their value that they want is based off of other houses that are selling. And if they think their house is worth what it's not, and you're trying to lowball it, then you're suddenly are that investor that's writing these offers that are where they're telling you to get the heck out of here, right? Or they're not responding, or they're ghosting you. But if you have that unrenovated house that's right next door to the renovated house, then you could make a full price offer and still get a house at 50% of the after repair value. But that only happens if you're looking in the right areas. So I don't know how good a deal this one is, but there's data that says it's lower than 55%. Okay. At least that. So here's the photos. I mean, this might even be rental grade with some flooring and new paint. Maybe not, but it certainly needs some work, right? There's a places here we can add value. Now, if we go down to the comparable section of this house, we can see here that we've got 5 properties that have values that say this thing has a value between 29 and 44% of the ARV. So it's doing the math for us. So basically what it's doing is it's taking the price, and in this case, the after repair value of this house, and it's dividing it into 60K. So 60,000 is 29% of 210. 60 is 35% of 170. So on average, this house is right around 40% of the after repair value, maybe even a little bit lower. And then we can look at some of these houses that sold, or this one actually is pending, and we can see what kind of condition it's in. So this house here it's not a flip, but it looks like they've maintained it well. They got some paint in there, and they've got some decent flooring. They put a newer kitchen in there. So this house here that we can buy for a very reasonable price of 60 grand has some pretty good values to it, right? Now, what I'm also seeing here is I don't see any houses that are true comps where there's rents on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the criteria here by clicking settings and clicking all, and that'll show us if there's any other properties in the area that are purple. If you remember the purple color, those are the ones that are rents. But we didn't have any that were within our specific, like we have really tight criteria for what a comp is. But we have 18 rentals in the area. So it looks like the reason why ours didn't have a ton of matches is because, the bedrooms was a big portion of it. So ours is a 3-bedroom. And there's 2 bedrooms here that are going for $1,000 a month. This one's a 3.2. So we didn't match up on that, but we might make this slightly lower because we have 1 fewer bathrooms. But there's some decent rental data here. So this one could make sense from a cash flow perspective. I mean, this is way better than the 1% rule. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the input would be on something like this, but it's only 1,200 square feet. But what do you guys use for like a rental grade rehab cost per construction?
It'll depend on the neighborhood and what type of class the asset is, but to be honest with you, it's all, well, we use our cash flow analysis matrix just to see we don't want to overvalue and over renovate in that. But again, with these pictures that we get to see, and with the rents there, and then knowing that you're within that 1% rule, as long as you basically meet what other people have renovated it to, then you should, and you have the exact same, well, not exact same, but square footage roughly, and the bedroom bathrooms, you're within ballpark of getting that. So it makes it easy, right? With this information at your fingertips. I love that you just said that, because that's something, the question we get on social media all the time is the 1% rule is a myth. It doesn't exist anymore. There's no more markets for this. I love that you mentioned that earlier, Benson. This is a deal that could easily surpass that 1% rule. And it does still exist. Not everywhere, obviously, in the hotter markets, but you can still find those deals.
Yeah. And you said it perfectly earlier, Dave. You live where you want to live and just go to where the deals are. You know, it's with the property management company, you know, it's somebody who's doing stuff virtually or remotely. You could have this asset in your portfolio. It could cash flow. And this is something like with this low amount, I mean, you could buy one of these every other month, depending upon how you leverage it and what kind of loans you qualify for. But this is also one too, where you could fix it up and do a cash out refinance on too. Now they'll only give you up to probably 70-75% of the after repair value on it. But if you're getting it at 35%, there's some room there where you get some money back, and then that's another property you could put a down payment on, another one, right? And so we would only need $12,000 down payment on this house if we were going to buy it with conventional mortgage, right?
Well, I love this. Many of our followers and those in the rooms are where we all love creative financing and those kind of things. And imagine how much, I mean, it's not that difficult to raise that kind of funds. You're not looking at it having to raise $500,000 here. And then once you do the one and you get the appreciation and you refinance, and then you can easily keep doing it over and over again. It's
Could
that
snowball
on,
very easily, yeah.
yeah. So it's a great way for people to get started without, if you've been having a hard time raising capital, for example, it's less intimidating to ask for 20,000 as opposed to 100,000 for your first time. And this is the kind of good deals that you can start to build your portfolio from.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to touch on the rental filter now, but now that we know there's rental data in this market, I'm going to actually reset this. And I want to look for long-term rental properties. So I'm going to switch from this tab to this one. And it switches to different ways of measuring how good the deal is. So we've got cap rates, cash on cash return, annualized return, gross yield. And then you can play with these numbers to see where properties are finding. Like if you set this up really high and you're like, boy, I want a really, really, high cap rate or really, really low cap rate, that might be difficult to find. So you're going to want to set this at a mark based off of your local market research. And maybe at another training, we can show it to you, but sometimes I'll set it at 15% and then see which markets have any hits at all. And then if I don't see any, then I'll lower it a little bit and I'll start to see more stuff on the map. And I'll be like, oh, cool. Well, there's a lot of, between 10 and 12% cap rates in this market. Let's look there. That might help us find some better areas to look, but let's set this at a reasonable cap rate. And then, we'll keep this at the same price range. And let's go ahead and run the search and see what it finds here. So it's taken all that rental data.
One's thinking, I want that high percentage.
Well,
But I'm curious to see what you get
8% is
to.
a good cap
It
rate.
is,
Again,
yes.
some people are thinking 8%
Yeah,
cap
that's
rate
right.
under $100,000 a door. 8% is very high to a lot of people, which is good.
It is. I mean, if you're on the West Coast or if you're in New York, and I mean, they even get 5%. They're like, you woohoo.
Yeah, they're celebrating. Yeah.
So this is just an example of some that have some different, like this house right here, 74 grand estimated monthly
That's a lot of
rent.
deals. I'm just sorry. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of, because I'm seeing one day ago.
Well, what
In the
properties
corner.
found? 187. Boom.
Wow. But I'm just surprised at how many are brand new just listed.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I can see how you want to be on it as well, right?
And
You
if
do.
you're-
And again, this is a function of the market we chose, right? So if we were doing the same search in LA, right, it would be a lot fewer
Right.
options. And even if we had higher cap or lower cap rates too. So, the market research really helps you to zero in on these markets that have good rental rates, good data. And this has 10 rental comps in the area. And we have 2 that are going to give us those numbers that we want over 8%. So this one right here at 1.2, I said 1,200 a month. This one's going for 1,600 a month. And so our cap rates is higher. We have 2 houses that support 8% or higher. And then in the rental section over here, we have other ones that are lower that don't support what we want, but maybe some of these aren't renovated, but it's all right here for you. So the cool thing about this is that you don't have to be in the system all day, every day doing what I'm doing. You can actually save the search. So if I wanted to be alerted of a rental property that matches my deal criteria, I come in here, I click filter, And I come down here to the bottom, I click Save Search, and I give it a name. I'm going to call this STL rentals greater than 8%. And then I can get alerts up to every hour. So it just depends on how active you are, but every day is probably pretty typical. And you just click save, and now that's going to track that market, and it'll send you properties that match your specific deal criteria every time one of those is found. And you could have multiple saves. So you could have one saved for Indianapolis and St. Louis, and maybe you got one saved for Tampa. And then maybe you have another search that says it's sending you properties that are at a discount, like houses that are lower than 50% of the ARV. And so you can get really creative on that. There's no limit to the number of alerts that you want in your system.
And Benson, I just want to go, I don't want to say a rant, but okay, think about this. If you're an investor, Benson has just showed you literally in the beginning how to reverse engineer it. He showed you the sold, the comp, so you can go in and see what the market is doing. Your market analysis, being an expert in that market, can be done very quickly. Reverse engineering, right? You now know what is going on in that market. You know it's high activity market. You know what it's selling for, what the renovations need to get done, and then reverse engineer. From there, you can then go in, do your searches like he did. If you were looking at the cap rate, if you're looking at the ARV, that type of thing, knowing what the market is doing, you can save that search. Now I'm going to the creative financing stage. If you're someone that's borrowing funds or has a private lender in your pocket and you need to deploy that capital, now that you understand the market and now that you can actually get alerts every hour if you want, right, as deals come up, you are at an advantage because you've done the market research. They're alerting you of what the deals are doing. You've literally saved the search, and it's just going to not send you, but feed you deals that meet your criteria, and you already know what numbers work.
Well, in real estate, it's a numbers game in every aspects, right? The exit strategy, the
cool.
finding, like
super cool.
If you're looking at 5 deals a week and your neighbor is looking at 30, right? Because they're using these kind of deals, they have deals fed to them consistently. Statistically, who's going to win, right? Who's going to find the best deal? So when I first started looking and using this application, I just Privy, I just loved it because I'm like, wow, it's doing the research for me. I get it right away at any time, right? It can be, I'm an early person, so when I get up early in the morning, I'm able to see and not have to wait for anybody to get back to me with numbers, and then I'm fed deals as much as I want.
And I'm sure 90+% of the people on this have jobs and have kids or families or hobbies or work. Once you set and forget, the deals will get fed to you. Like it can't get any easier than that. Anyway, pretty cool system. I love it.
Oh, you guys summed it up really well, right? And I love that you summed it up from your perspective too, right? Because I look at the software from my perspective and my paradigm every day, and you guys teach creative financing, and you teach rentals, and you're looking at cash flow is the main driver of it. So I appreciate you guys chiming in on that and kind of help me, put a bow on it. But let's say, for example, we did like this house and we wanted to write an offer. Like, what would you do next? Well, you could come down here. We've got a drop down right here. We've got investor friendly agents who are actually in this market who've told us that they want clients. So right now we don't sell leads or anything like that, like Redfin or Zillow or any of those platforms. These are Privy users. These are people who use Privy. They understand how the data works. They understand how the software works. And they've told us that they are looking for clients. So in every market, there's a different number of people. It depends on the state, and it depends on if they're actively looking. But also too, you can see who the listing agent is. So this is Cheryl Wambach. So Cheryl's the listing on this. So if you have a strategy where you like it to go directly to the listing agent, you can do that too. Or if you want to find somebody who is your fiduciary, who's got your best interest in mind, and they want to work with you and for you, then maybe you want to work with Linda. It's up to you. Cool. So those are the main things. Now I want to point out a couple other things here while we're here, and I want to try to get some people out here at a decent time, but we have multifamily properties. So if you want to find multifamily properties, maybe we can go and uncheck these. And let's say we want, I don't know, let's just see what's available.
You
You know,
read my
you'd be
mind.
surprised with what you can get for like, I'll put
I
it
like
at
where my
300,000.
clicker goes is the multifamily. It automatically goes right there. But I like looking at a lot of deals, but
Yeah, multifamily is powerful. So up to 300,000 multifamily. Let's see what's available in this area. And I don't know if this is a high multifamily area or not. Looks like there's not a ton here. Multifamily active. Might have to increase a little bit more here. I'm going to reset this. There we go.
Oh.
Here's a duplex for 75 grand.
like, like you said, our people in the hot
Yeah, every
markets
time
are
I see
going.
this, I'm like, okay.
I know. Are you
I'm staying
kidding
up
me?
late.
Not even 1 unit, 2 units for 75K, and numerous of them, right?
Oh yeah, and they're in different levels of condition, right? This one is a little bit nicer.
Nice brick building. It's
Look
beautiful.
at those ceilings.
This one looks turnkey. Like if someone's interested in something like this, where maybe they don't want to go through the full burr the burr process, right? They don't want to renovate. This looks a little more turnkey. That might be right up someone's alley.
Oh yeah. Well, I've looked at some really bad properties in my time. But 44,000.
Everyone's going quick.
Yeah,
Right.
3961 Lexington Avenue.
Oh,
So we could set up a search for just multifamily too. So depending upon what you're interested in, you can really customize the searches for you and your business. Multiple cities, multiple markets, multiple strategies. Again, exit strategy agnostic. You can type the address of any property you want to analyze into the search bar here, and it will build a comparative market analysis for you. It works on your mobile device. So we've got a mobile optimized version of Privy. So if you're out in the field and you're driving around and you see a house and you wonder like, what's going on with that thing? Just type it in to your phone and it will go and it'll look it up for you and tell you if it's for sale or if it's in a distress situation, who the homeowner is. It'll pull comps for you. So lots of opportunities out there, you guys. So the plan is so anybody that's interested in this system, we're going to give you guys an opportunity to get it for yourselves tonight. Some people are a little scared of technology because they maybe haven't used it before. I went through this fairly quickly tonight, but we've got 2 live trainings that we do every single week. So it's a live Q&A. You can get in there. You can ask questions of Christian. He'll answer your questions. Make sure you have everything you need to be able to execute and use the system. But let me show you real quickly here as we're wrapping up how you can get access. Okay, and like I mentioned before, and regardless of what your strategy is, Privy will help you get access to data that will help you execute it. It's also regardless of your level of experience. So if you're newer and you're really not sure, you're just kind of learning, this is the fastest way to shorten your learning curve. It's the fastest way to become a local market expert. Maybe you're an expert in 80234 in Colorado, but you don't know Denver, right? A different or a completely different zip code, or maybe you don't know a different state. And so you can get quickly up to speed on what's happening in your target market. So we certainly will help you do your first deal or help you build a huge portfolio of cash flowing properties. That's really up to you. And then we've got people here who have done everything from like Christian Chase, who was a real estate agent and an investor. He's got a huge portfolio. He's doing all of his business in Chicago. Mahmoud, he's actually building a rental portfolio now as well. And they've been tons and tons of deals in the Tampa market. And Michelle I was just talking with her husband the other day. They're in Europe. So they just travel the world and they just go wherever they want to go. And actually they're in Spain is where they're at. I just talked to them yesterday and they're absolutely killing it. So this is just a few people who are using Privy. So back to where we started, right? The systematic approach, reverse reversing the strategy, not just picking markets because they're convenient or it's comfortable or it happens to be in your own backyard, like really letting the data lead you to which markets are going to give you the best return on that investment. It's going to minimize your risk. You're going to save a huge amount of time. You're going to be able to start to get, full-time results by using things part-time and leveraging the automation in your business so that you can just set it and forget it, like Dave said. But one of the coolest things that comes out of this, you guys, is confidence. So now you can look at a property and say, okay, look at these numbers. And if you're part of their group already, they've got all the analysis tools for you. So you can just take the numbers from Privy, just put them into the calculators, and it's going to tell you whether or not you should take action and probably what offer to submit and, what kind of cash input it's going to need. If you're not part of their organization yet, then you need to start thinking about that. And Privy is an excellent partner tool for that. So we'll help you get all the data, help you do your local market research and take that information and put it into Mel and Dave's analysis tools to where you're extremely confident in the offer and the numbers make sense. So Privy right now, it's over $1,700 per year. But if you use the promo code OPM, then we're going to take 30% off of that down to $1,252 for the year. Now, we do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying the software out. We do have a monthly option too, but I like to show this one first because this is going to give you the best return on investment. And for those of you that are thinking about, I'm not quite sure if I should do it or not, it's up to you. Like, don't strain your financial situation so intensely that it's going to put you in a bad situation. But there's a lot to be said for having skin in the game. And when you invest in your business and you invest in yourself, when the decision has to be made to work, at 8 o'clock at night or work on a Sunday when you're watching football, like, you're going to make the right decision because you put a little bit more of a cash investment into that opportunity. So $1,252 for what I showed you guys tonight is a great deal. For those of you that are part of their organization already, I do know that Mary sent you guys a message about a special offer. So there's well, tell me this, Mel, if
Yes.
someone's not part of the family, can they become part of it and get the special offer? Like, what if they wanted to sign up for your group tonight?
Yeah, so absolutely. So first of all, Action Family members that happen to be here as well. Hello, and we love you guys and appreciate you. And there is, I always fight hard to get an extra discount for you. So the code, if it's not yet posted, it will be soon, or I'll check after we check the session. And you'll actually be getting 35% off. So that's going to be posted inside the Action Family private group, exclusive to the Action Family. For those who are here and want to learn more about the Action Family, where we show you how to buy properties using them your own money, no joint venture partners, then you can definitely book a call with us. Just send us a DM on any social media platform and you can jump on a call with one of our team members. We'll be able to go over everything that it includes and get you started if that's something you want to do as well.
Awesome. And then for those of you where maybe the timing just isn't right and you still want to get started, you still want to take action, then you use OPM and it will take 20% off of your first month. And then after that, it'll be just the normal price of $149 thereafter. And then, maybe you close a deal here and, by Christmas and you want to upgrade, then we'll give you whatever the best deal is at that point. But the pricing we have for tonight is going to be available for 48 hours, right? So you have some time to talk to your significant other, time to talk with your business partner, or just really get, close and personal with your own finances to see what makes sense. We will give you some time to think about it. We're not going to rush you into something tonight. So let me grab the links for you there. And Mel, Dave, is there any sort of closing thoughts or anything else you wanted to mention while I'm grabbing these links?
I agree. I mean, it's these kind of things, and I thought the same thing at first. I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend money, it has to be an investment because I'm an investor, and it really is about return on investment, right? If I love finding deals. I know the power of finding deals and looking at a lot of deals, and especially trying to reach all these markets in the States in different areas. And I also know that I'm primarily or firstly a mom of 3, and I'm very busy with the children and everything else and the other businesses. And once I started using this tool, it was a time saver alone, which was a huge game, and just the information that I just wouldn't be able to have all at once, right? Like sometimes I get in there and I start using it and it's like, oh, what about this one? And what about this one? Right? It's fun because it just opens up a lot of opportunities. And I know those who follow us, and thanks so much for doing so on social media. You know, we all often talk about deals, and yes, there's deals in the market and all those kind of things. And we're super excited to be sharing it with our also Investor Mel Dave community as well, and offer you the OPM code ends up being, I believe, around 30% if you use it for the year as well, which is a significant amount. So thank you very much, Privy, for I'm glad that we got to know each other after, over a while, and also being willing to offer a very generous discount as well for my community. We appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. We're really excited to be working with you guys. Believe me, there's been a buzz in the office about working with Mel and Dave. Like it's becoming like a thing. So we're excited too. And we're excited to work with everybody here. So, you know, take a leap, work with us. We're happy to help out. We got live training. I did put the links in there. This is being recorded, so we'll get that recording to your team, and we can talk about, you know, the next steps after that. But if you have questions, please email support@teamprivy.com. And I do appreciate Mel and Dave for being with me this evening and all their great input and experience. And I appreciate all of you being here as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules. And, you know, there's 1,000 other places you could be tonight. You know, you could be upstairs, you know, watching TV or laying in bed, or you could be watching, you know, at the bar or cooking dinner, but you were with us tonight. So I'm just grateful you took the time to spend some time with us. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Ooh, same here.
Oh, I love it.
These are investors that are here. That's why. Woo.
Yes, and thank you for you guys for being here. Privy, thank you so much as well.
Yeah, thank you, Benson. Thank you, Privy.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. I know there was a couple questions. I don't know if we have time to very quickly answer a couple quick questions.
Oh, sure.
It was basically multifamily, which you touched on. It was what were the differences? But I just, yeah, if you have time, Benson, if not, I know
I do. Yeah, I got plenty of time. So for those of you guys that need to take off, goodbye. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to answer some questions now. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. The first one I come to, Carlita was asking about the U.S. market. Yes, this is just for the U.S. market currently. However, you don't have to be in the U.S. You can be anywhere, right?
Like us in North Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
Exactly. Barbara, no, you have 48 hours and there is a 30-day money back guarantee. Not a free trial. It's a guarantee.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yes, yeah. Christine. Yeah.
Yeah, Durant, I'm not sure what we thought about Canada. There's still some markets in the US we want to hit before we start to broaden out. But probably, potentially, I don't know when or
I'll keep pushing Privy for that. I'm going to keep pushing pressure on them, but we'll see what happens here.
Up to how many units does it cover? So, Peter, with the MLS, typically multifamily properties start to dwindle out right around 4 or 5 units. And this is because real estate agents choose to do that. There's not any sort of rule or law about how they list properties in the MLS, but they're looking for eyeballs. And so right around 4 or 5 units, you can't get FHA or conventional financing on it. You typically have to get a commercial loan. And so though Commercial World lives in other websites like LoopNet, CoStar, Crexi, or some of the other ones. And that's where you're going to start to see properties that are over that. But if there's a 20 unit apartment building that an agent wants to list in the MLS, it'll be there. We'll have it. For off market, actually, those rules don't apply at all. So you could actually go and say, show me all the off market multifamily properties that are over 10 units. And we'll show you all of them, regardless if they were listed or not, because the public record data is for everything. So I hope that answers your question, Peter. So Jennifer, CoStar is a platform for real estate agents. You, if you're unlicensed, you can't access it, and if you are licensed, you can, but it's actually pretty expensive. Most, maybe only 15% of real estate offices have it, or agents have it. It's pretty rare, and it's for people who are really deep into commercial and large multifamily properties, but it isn't available for non-licensed people.
And Jen, like this, I find we're almost going behind the curtain here. Like, you do not need to be a licensed agent to get access to all this stuff. And I'm a licensed agent as well, and I've got access to the MLS system in Alberta. It's called was it Pillar, and Geo Warehouse in Ontario. I'm licensed there as well. Like, this kind of information that Benson and Privy has put together is night and day. Like, it's so much more than what an agent has on the MLS. So, and Jen, I know you know this, but this is so much more. This is so much more value add than what an agent would just get. And Benson had said earlier, you've been an agent for 15 years. So it's very, very cool what you've put together.
Thank you. Yeah, the team has done an amazing job. And honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The things that are coming down the development roadmap are so exciting. And so hopefully you guys get to take that journey with us. Yeah, I think I answered all the questions in the question and answer section. Now I'm looking in the chat again.
And guys, while you're doing that, think of all the things we've touched on tonight. If you're busy, this is to get notified without having to go in. You save the search. If you're in a market that's too hot and you can't afford it, this allows you to find deals that are affordable, that meet the 1% rule. If you're saying, I don't know where to invest, Benson just showed you how to reverse engineer. Have it where you want somewhere that has a higher cap rate, right? Or that has whatever you're looking for your criteria, and you can do a nationwide search. So it answers a lot of questions and it ticks a lot of boxes. The price that they're offering, when we started talking with Privy and that, and we started using it, I can't believe the price that they're giving it away. Like, you do one deal, this thing has paid for itself years and years over. Like, the value add here, it speaks volumes.
I love the list, right? Once you set it, again, we're all busy investors, or most of us are, right?
Keep
You set it,
giving you
and it keeps
info.
giving
Yeah,
you
keep giving you
information, and
deals.
you can do your analysis, and if you're part of the action family, you put it in the matrix and see which one makes sense to you. So I love it.
Yeah, Jurgen, the data comes from multiple sources. We've got public record data, county record data. We've got direct to MLS data, and also data from from property management companies for the rental data. Brad is looking to sell their kids for 50% of the ARV.
Hey, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
Off-market deal, bro.
business owner through and through. Yeah, we do help with the market analysis. David, depending upon the source, if it's MLS data, it updates multiple times per hour. If it's county record or public record data, it's a few times per week. All right. We got a recording coming, you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. So when can they expect that? Within the next 24 hours, I'm assuming?
Yeah. We'll get this edited for you first thing tomorrow, and then I'll get it uploaded into Google Drive, and we'll get you guys a link so you can download it and post it if you need to, or just post the link.
That's awesome.
Is there another Action Family code? Yes. If you go on our Action Family community group, Facebook group, David, there should be a code there that we just posted. Mary's doing it via distance. I'm not sure if she had a chance to do it. If she hasn't, I'm going to go check here in a couple of minutes once we're off and make sure the code is posted there for you and the action takers.
Yeah. And Benson, you've answered a lot of questions. I do want to respect everyone's time and your time. Someone was asking about training videos. You said you guys do two trainings a week. Action Family, I'm going to be doing something specific, showing you how I use Privy to find different properties. So you'll have a different type of training in there as well. But yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, Benson, this has been absolutely awesome. I know we've captured everyone's attention. Like you said, they could be anywhere, and we appreciate you guys gave us an hour and oh my gosh, an hour and 15 minutes. Definitely investors. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Go be great, take some action. And one last time, Benson, thank you so much to you and your team.
Oh, thank you for all the support, you guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye for now, guys.